Hello, everybody. My name is Terri Bursch, and I am going to be hosting this wonderful, wonderful trip to Ireland, which actually, I'll tell you how it started. First of all, my sisters and I were talking about, oh, we'd love to go to Ireland. Then I had my niece come up to me and said, we're going to Ireland. I go, well, why don't I just put a trip together? That's kind of how it came about, but we're really excited, and I think there's a lot of people excited too. So we have the pleasure of having Roger Kramer here, our representative from CIE. Did I get that right? It seems like I always use CIE. I did.
You did it. You got it.
Great. So Roger is going to tell us all about Ireland and our itinerary, and I think there'll be time for questions. And so Roger, take it away for right now and let us know if we can, if you're going to put us on mute, and or if we want to do questions after.
We can do questions after.
Okay.
Just write them down to make sure you remember them. What I'm going to do is disappear, because sometimes it's easier don't just myself on the stands for chorus impa errands, and it's Gaelic. We are a division of the Irish government, and it's the transportation division, and there are 3 companies that are under that heading. There's the Tourist Board, there's Aer Lingus, and ourselves. So what we're going to do, there we go. Trying to find the right button to push to get us to start. But this is exciting. You're going at a good time of year. You're going to see you're on the backside of summer, but then again in Ireland, summertime can be in the 60s and 70 range, depending on the time of day and what part of Ireland you're in. I'd really like to know if how many have been to Ireland, but I'm going to take a guess and say no one. It's probably simpler that way. What we're going to do is press the right buttons. I'm going to let you know about CIE. We've been in business for over 90 years. And again, we're a division of the Irish government, so our headquarters is there. But we have reached out. We're doing other destinations throughout that area. Our coaches, and I'm going to show you one here in a minute so you get a better understanding of the coaches you'll be using. And hotels, we're in 4- and 5-star hotels. The government requires us to come out with good quality tours. So not only is it the itineraries are good, but the entertainment. But what I want to point on is the last one, no options. We do not sell options. If we say you're going to go and kiss the Blarney Stone, you're going to go kiss the Blarney Stone. And it's not going to cost you $16.80, because that's what it costs. Everything is included. And I will explain more as we go through this. This is the coach. The coach, we purchased, would you believe, 32 new ones prior to the pandemic. And over those, in fact, actually during the pandemic, because of the fact that we hadn't used them, they're really in full play this year. You're going to find inside the coach, there's a place to plug in your cell phones, your computers, there's Wi-Fi capability. So, you know, you're home away from home. You're going to ask me later on, what about Wi-Fi's in the hotel? Yes, you can use your computers in the hotel. And if you can't use it in your room, you would go down to the main lobby. You're going to be flying into Dublin, Ireland. All right. I want you to realize that Dublin, east to west, is 150 yards, 150 miles. North to south, it's 300. It's a relatively small island, but really what I want to tell you is it's jam-packed full of beauty, culture, history, and people. And the people are fantastic. So What you see here is basically the whole layout of Ireland. But as we go, I will then, you're going to be going into Dublin. You land there probably in the early morning. And what happens is after you've gone through customs and immigrations, you're going to be met by our driver guide just as you come out of customs. He is going to ask you, and I'm pointing this out to you at this stage, he is going to ask you to take your luggage out to the coach because there'd be no possible way for him to go back and forth to obtain the luggage. Once you bring it out to the coach, he takes care of it from there. He then will put it on the coach. He'll take it to the hotels. He'll unload it. The bellhops will take it into the hotel, take it to the outside of your room. That's where you're going to pick it up and take it into your room. The next day you put it outside, and then from there they take it and put it on the coach. The question you're going to ask, do you tip these people? No, it's all included. Happens to be this bridge that I have to here is the Henny Penny Bridge. Back when it was first built over the Liffey River, they charged a penny for you to go across it. Well, if they kept going with that right now, it would probably be up to $10 with inflation. The main street, what's going to happen then is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to be taking you around the city of Dublin. The reason why I'm also bringing that up is because it's 2 o'clock, and what happens is about that time in the afternoon is when you're starting to crash. You're going to be extremely tired because of the jet lag. So we do take you around the city. So, and this is Nassau Street. They're going to take you by the national park. This is where the ambassador for the United States live. You'll be going by some of the architecture or the Georgian homes, which are absolutely unique. And you'll notice each one's got a different door. But as you look at the building itself, the windows start getting smaller as they go towards the top. And the reason why is that the rich lived on the bottom, middle income in the middle, and more of the poor on the top, because there's no elevators in these buildings. So that'll kind of give you an indication. You're going to be going by St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I'm telling you, it is absolutely gorgeous. I think the whole town of Dublin is built around this particular cathedral. It was also built on a well where they did a lot of baptisms, and it's located, if you can kind of see it to the right, you're going to see some people sitting there where there's a well just beyond that. This cathedral is Jonathan Swift was the dean of this cathedral. And when you go inside, you're going to find that as you first enter, you'll find that there's a grave there, and that's where Jonathan Swift and his wife Stella are buried. But you can see the inside, and this is only a portion, and I only took photos and that's another thing. I put all these together based on your itinerary from photos that I have taken since I've been there. The itinerary that you probably have read, I always like to put pictures to the itinerary so you get a general idea of what you're going to see. This is your hotel for that night in Dublin. Absolutely exquisite hotel. Dinner is not included this evening because the chances are if we would have had a set menu for you, you'd probably fall asleep in your soup, because about that time of night of about 6, 7, 8 o'clock is when you really you're going to really crash. The thing that I strongly recommend is get adapted to the time change as soon as you can. And for those of you that have been into Europe, you know what I'm talking about. But the thing is you're going to be waking up at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because of the time change. Because back here it will be 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. What I like to do is put a map, kind of put, like they say, the yellow brick road across. The roads definitely don't go that straight in Ireland, but it's kind of the way that I kind of drew them out for you. But you're going to go all the way over to Galway. On the way there, you're going to stop at Athlone, and there you're going to have an opportunity. And if you can't find a pub in Ireland, there's something wrong. But the thing is that this particular pub is the oldest pub in Europe. And while you're there, and as you can see how unique it is inside, but I promise you, you're going to be going around to different places and different towns. And I really strongly urge you to go in and just experience the atmosphere in the pubs. For those that haven't been there, this is where you're going to meet the locals. This is where you're going to find entertainment. Usually the locals will come in and they'll jam every evening, which makes it a very unique experience. When my wife and I were over there in October, I said, we're going to go and do the pint test. And she just looked at me and shook her head. So we went into this pub and we sat down and I said, I'll order a pint. And I don't care if you order a pint of beer, a pint of water, a pint of Coke. It's totally up to you, but you got to go in and experience it. I had 2 sips out of it before this gentleman came up to our table and started talking. Oh, lad, where you be from? And I told him jokingly, I said, I'm from Gesundheit, Illinois. And he looked at me, and my wife kind of kneed me saying, why did you do that? So then all of a sudden he looked at me and said, Patty and the family, they moved there. You must know them. And all my wife did was shook her head and laughed at it because she said, he got you. I no more turned back to him. He sat down, and I think it was 6, 7, 8 pints later, we were the best of friends. But we learned about each other. You learn about the customs and everything that goes on in Ireland. And I promise you, they love to do that. You're in Galway. And you're going to have an opportunity to walk around. Some of it you're going to be free to do that afternoon. But if you notice the red building to the left, that's called the King's Inn Pub. We were in there one evening, there was about 4 or 5 of us, and we sat there right near the stage, or not even a stage, where the entertainment was going on. And these 3 gentlemen got up and they started dancing. They were doing not necessarily the Irish jig like you would experience, but these 3 were just phenomenal. We just enjoyed it. Well, when they came back and sat down, one of our guys said, you guys are fantastic. Do you perform professionally? And they said, oh, yeah, lad, we are part of Riverdance. And so you never know who you're going to meet in some of these pubs. It's just a great atmosphere. And if you don't like that particular pub, you can go down the street. There's another one. But on this particular one, there's a lot of restaurants. There's shopping, so it'll give you an idea. One of the most photographed areas in Galway is the Spanish Arch. This is back when the Spanish galleons would come up from Spain and they would do trading with Ireland. And so they would load and unload their wares. But off to the right, if you can see over the water, there's a village there. This particular village is the Collada village. I don't know, and usually I ask this question when I'm face to face, do you know what the Collada ring is? All right, it's the hands, the heart, and the crown. In this particular village, there was a young, probably about an 18, 20-year-old. He was engaged to a young lady. He went out fishing out off the coast of Galway, and he was then hijacked to Spain by some pirates. He ended up living down there for probably about, I understand it, 5 to 8 years. But then while he was there, he learned the trade of blacksmith. They released him. He came back up to Collada. And ironically, the young lady that he was so in love with was still waiting for him. She just knew that nothing happened to him. So he was the one that designed and made the ring. When a young lady wears the ring outward, she's available because it's got a point to it with the heart. When it's back facing her, she's engaged to be married. So there's a lot of history. You're going to find the Collada ring all over Ireland. But then you're going to have an opportunity to go around. You'll see the different sites, and then you can go back in if you want to go in and see these places like the City Museum or the National University in Galway. This is really what put Galway on the map after the famine, because then trains from Dublin and other areas started coming up. Then, of course, the cathedral. The cathedral, you're going to find inside a plate or a picture of Jack Kennedy, because this is where the Kennedys went to church, and they live not too far outside of Galway. And the city park, right in the heart of town. There's history here, but there's also a lot of shops all the way around this particular place. And you're going to have the opportunity to walk around. Your hotel is only probably 3 minutes to the city center or where that park was. So you can kind of get a general idea as to where it is and location of the city. That evening, it's going to be free for you to go out and go into a get fish and chips at a pub, or find a restaurant that's to your desire right close to the hotel. All right, the second day when you're up in Galway, you're going to be heading out to I think, a beautiful, most beautiful area, Connemara. I just love saying the word Connemara. It kind of relates to the beauty that you're going to see when you're out there. If you remember the picture of Dublin, you saw how busy it is. It's no different than anywhere else you go into a city, whether it be Minneapolis, how big Minneapolis, St. Paul is, and but when you start getting outside of town, this is where you're going not only to find the farms there, but also the beauty here with the mountain ranges, the lakes. It is absolutely gorgeous. And you can see how there's 40 shades of green in Ireland. It never rains there, so I don't know how they get the 40 shades of green, but you can see it is beautiful. And that's where you're going to find areas where there's peat. And they really use this a great deal for heating. But now you're finding more and more they're getting away from that and having, whether it be the furnaces or whatever in their homes to heat. But you're going to find fireplaces that you can smell the peat. You can see, to me, I couldn't take enough pictures there. It's absolutely exquisite. But while you're up in this area, you're going to have an opportunity to go out on the boat here, and you're going to go on a lake that is 9 miles long, and on there's probably, right where they say there's 365 little islands, if you want to call them that. But it's very unique, very pretty. You can see the castle in the background, but it is, I think you'll enjoy this. Saying the castle, there's a castle around every corner. They say on a vicinity of 30,000 castles throughout, whether it be tall like this or small, but they are there. This happens to be, believe this or not, this was a wedding gift. A merchant from England came there, and he and his, then wife, were married. This was what he made as a wedding gift. I don't know about you guys, but I gave my wife slippers. So, that this is really an uphill battle for me. They lived there right around 10 to 12 years. She unfortunately was killed in a horse accident. He then, and I wish I would have taken a picture. The next time I go there, I will. But to the right, there's a chapel that he built for her after she perished. This particular abbey is being used now as a school and it's also on one side for nuns. You can go inside in the front and just see part of the living quarters, but it's probably one of the most photographed abbeys in Ireland. And you can see why. But you'll also see the beautiful gardens that are around the abbey. And you're going at a great time of year because you're going to have an opportunity to see the flowers and the foliage all throughout. You're going to head back up to Galway after visiting the Kylemore Abbey. And during that, you're going to have an opportunity to be walking around and being able to see the sights of Galway. You're probably asking yourself why there's a boat here. And you're heading all the way down to Killarney. But before you get there, you're going to be passing such places. And you noticed every time there's a photo, the ocean or a river is behind, is because your entire route, as you saw, and don't get dizzy here, but you can see as it's right along the coast. And so you're going to have an opportunity to see a lot of that. But this is the barren area. This is only a small portion of it. You can see that there's a lot of limestone. There's a little bit of grass. There's some very unique flowers here. Some of these flowers, the seedlings come in from the Arctic. They also come from the Mediterranean, and some of it into the Caribbean. But they're rare flowers in this particular area. And if you notice kind of in the background there, you'll see the pile of limestone. This is the way the whole hillside like that is in this area. It was scraped down by retreating glaciers. So there's very little, as you can see, grass. You know, I just showed you 40 shades of green. Well, all of a sudden you're going to see 40 shades of rock. But it's a very unique historic site. You're going to ask about sheepdogs, and I imagine some of you probably up in there in Minnesota probably have some of that. This is very unique for the simple fact that all that sheep herder has to do is whistle, snap his finger, and these dogs, as you see behind him, will go out and gather them up no matter where they are. They start training these dogs about 12 weeks old. And it's actually very impressive to see how they gather them up and how they can corral them to get back down to where he's at. But it is very unique. In fact, I have to tell you, this is probably one of our number one sites or attractions, is because people love this. The cliffs of Moher, they're 700 feet high. I always joke when I say out there on the horizon, you can see New Jersey. Well, I joke when I say that because you honestly can't. But what it is you're going to see the tower out there on top of the hill, and you're going to see to the right a walkway that goes out to it. They've added that walkway since I've taken some of these pictures because so many people would go like what I'm doing here, but I'm not as close as you may think I am, to the edge to take these type of pictures. People would actually sit on the edge and take pictures straight down. I don't know why they would do that. It's all limestone. This is the Atlantic Ocean. It's beating against there. So they just want to do it for the beauty of it all. But you can see this is the photo that I took before they put the walkway in. But you're going to go all the way up to O'Brien's Tower. And this O'Brien was the lord that owned all of this property along here. That boat that ship I showed you earlier, you're going to be taking it across the Shannon River. If we were to go by road around instead of going across, it would be an additional 2.5 hours to get around. This takes 25 minutes. And what it amounts to, this is the ferry, if you want to call it that, but these, you can see on the top, the buses all come on board. It's fun to go on this. You can get off the coaches and just watch the river because we saw porpoises and going up and down because it leads out to the Atlantic Ocean. And you're going to arrive into this town. And I only took this because I love the flowers and the beauty of this. But you're going to find this all throughout. The smaller villages are very unique. And then you're going to get to my favorite town. I love Killarney. Killarney is a unique little city. Not only is there great shopping, there's great restaurants, there's pubs, there's just a lot of activities, which is really what makes it fun. That evening, you're going to get a little Irish, as they call it, Irish crack. Irish crack is fun. Crack means fun, but you're going to enjoy it. And then you're having dinner here along with the music. It's really an enjoyable evening. This is your hotel. Used to be an old rail hotel. The trains would come here, and this is where the passengers would stay. It's a very unique building. If you came out this front door and went left, you're 2 blocks from that street that I just showed you. It's a beautiful building, a lot of history, but you're only a stone's throw away from downtown. You're going out to the furthest point in the Atlantic of all of Europe, and it's the Ring of Kerry. The Ring of Kerry itself, oh, before we go there, I apologize. You're going to be taking they call it the daunting cart out into the national park, and where you're going to see red-tailed deer to beauty like this. You're going out to the loch off to the left here through the trees, which you cannot see, I apologize, is Ross Castle. And he was the one that designed and actually started Killarney. But as you can see, there's beauty around every corner. Now we're going out to the Ring of Kerry, which is a treat by itself. There's the highest mountain ranges in Ireland. And we had I had the opportunity to climb up a little ways just to take the picture, especially of the sheep, figuring out how they could do it. But then I thought I was dumb enough to climb up there. They are too. But the thing is, it's 108 miles around. Sounds like a long time. But when you see all the uniqueness of this particular area, you'll enjoy it. And you're going to see, like I said earlier, you're going to see waterfalls, you'll see mountain ranges, you'll see the Atlantic Ocean coming in. And it is gorgeous. I'm going to show you other ones, but since I've got this particular screen up, you'll notice right where the car is, just this side of it, that you're going to see the wall. You're also going to see the wall to the right. These are called famine walls, or they are the penny walls. During the Great Famine, which you will hear about when you're over there, because that leads to a lot of history and a lot of reasons why there are so many Irish here in the United States, up in Canada and Australia. There's over 40 million here in the United States with heritage to Irish. You probably have some in your background as well. There's only 7 million in Ireland, but you're going to find a lot of history. The famine walls were built, obviously, during the Great Famine, and they were also called the penny walls because these people were paid a penny a day to build these things. So and you're going to find them. If I see some as we go here, they petition off the areas that you farmed, and usually it was the money you earned, a lot of it went to the lord that owned the property. You're going to see the beauty, as I said, all the way through. And this is heading kind of back towards Killarney again. But before you go there, Moriarity's is an exclusive for us because they have offered for us to stop there, because not only do they have knitwear, they have tweed, they have everything imaginable that you can get, and it is of good quality. So I think you'll enjoy this stop. And on the way back, you're going to go through some of these villages again, which, as you can see, is very unique. And there's always seems to be a big church steeple at one end of the block or the other. And now we're down in Killarney again. And I want you to enjoy this, because this city does have a lot of things that you're going to enjoy. Where you're looking at these people, if you went right 2 blocks, that's where your hotel is. So you can see that you're very convenient to all of the access of the what's going on in Blarney. There's also an Aran sweater shop here. And if you know your Aran sweaters, they have different signs, or not signs, but logos on the front, which indicate, and that logos isn't the right word, but it indicates the family tree. So if, for an example, the Kennedys have a certain kind, O'Donnells have another kind, but these sweaters are absolutely gorgeous. And they made them on the Aran Islands, which is just off the coast where the cliffs of Moher are located. The story behind them too is you can wear, and I couldn't figure this out. It was raining and these people were wearing these Aran sweaters. And I'm thinking, well, by the time they get to wherever they're going, that sweater is going to be down to their ankles because it'll just stretch. But they're fish oil all through them, so they're waterproof. But they're heavy. And they're the kind that like a turtleneck style, and they're a heavy sweater. You'll see them. Well, how they were started was the ladies on the Aran Islands, their husbands and sons were fishermen, so they would go out. Well, and if something happened to the boat, well, I hate to say this, but none of them had identification. This is how they identified, is through these sweaters. But it's just a lot of history behind. There's a story around every corner. Okay, we're leaving Killarney, and as you can see, we are heading east through Cork, the Cork area, and you can see the beautiful houses and what have you. You're going to see a lot of that along the coastal regions. And then there's the town of Blarney, and I'm sure you know what's in Blarney. Blarney Castle. All right, as you stare at the castle, in the background behind the tower, if you look at the right of the castle, which goes all the way up next to the castle, it's 108 steps to climb up the turret to go all the way up to the top. And up at the top is, of course, as you may find out in a minute, but you see underneath there, you can see the opening on the top of the castle. Well, when you get up there, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be bending over backwards to kiss the Blarney Stone. And so many people want to do this. Some people say, oh, no, I can't do that. Some people say I can't climb up because the steps themselves go anywhere from 2 inches up to a foot. This was to deter invaders from getting into the castle. But it's an experience. And if you're up to it, you've got to take advantage of it. Now, they put these bars in here, I think it's more so for tourists because obviously it was open. And you're going to hear the story about Blarney Castle and why it is so important to kiss the Blarney Stone. In fact, when I was there with my wife in October, I said, you want me to retire? Now I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be a greeter at Walmart. I'm not going to play golf. I'm going to be this guy right here. Well, I went down and talked to the person down below the castle. And I said, oh, tell me about the gentleman up on top. And he laughed and he says, oh, would you believe, lad, there's a wait list of 8 years in order to do that. So I thought, oh, well, I guess I won't do that. But some of the people, and I'm telling you, people will just bend back, pretend like they're going to kiss the stone, but it's also for the photo op. You've got to go through, like, this is what you should do. And of course, the grounds, the beautiful grounds all the way around the castle. But if you don't want to go out there, you can go to the Blarney Woolen Mills, which is located in the parking lot. Blarney is in the background. You can see the church and other buildings, but the Woolen Mills is right up here in front. Anything and everything that is made in Ireland, you'll find in the Woolen Mills, whether it be the Collada rings, Waterford crystal, Aran sweaters, knits, everything's there. So this is maybe one place that you want to shop. But you're going to go also to the Marine Bar. Here you're going to also have entertainment, which is a lot of fun. And these are outside of the towns, so this gives you an opportunity to see what some of the pubs. I'm surprised that this isn't called the Marine Pub. Normally they're usually called instead of bar. But you'll enjoy it. And of course, Waterford. Everybody's heard of Waterford. It is located right on the river that leads out into the Atlantic Ocean. Your hotel, it's off to the right here, so it shows you how close you are to the city center, if you want to call it that. But you're also right on the river. But you're going to have an opportunity to go to Waterford Crystal. A story behind Waterford Crystal. It was probably now, because if I think about the pandemic, which has already been a couple years. It was probably about 8 to 10 years ago. Waterford literally closed down. Waterford Crystal closed down in Waterford, and it was located just on the fringe of town. Part of that reason too was the facility they were in was just getting too dated. So they did close it down, laid people off. Waterford Crystal it dissolved. The city council got together and decided, well, people will still come to Waterford because of the history behind it. I would have to say 80% of the reason why people came to Waterford was because of the crystal. So what they did is they reopened the factory right downtown. They not only have an area where you can purchase crystal, but you can also go through and see how they design it, make it, and it'll give you a real good, really appreciation for what they do. But it is fun to walk through, and you can have an opportunity to talk to these people. And you're going to find the crystal out there. Some of the stuff they've made here that goes out there, whether it be goblets to bowls to vases, it's all there. Again, this is your hotel. If you went left, you'd probably about 2 blocks, you would have Waterford. So your location is fabulous. What I didn't tell you was, as we hit our trip back to Dublin, you're going to find that you've got breakfast every morning. And it's a buffet style, but I'm telling you, you will fill up there. It's not only got Irish food, it also has American food. You can get your eggs and everything made you want. You'll enjoy it. After that, as you'll notice or probably have read in the itinerary, lunches are not included. And I'm going to tell you why that is. It's not that we're going to starve you. The reason why we don't do lunches is because when you come into a town, let's just use the example right now, Blarney. You come into town, you're there, and you have, let's just say, 20 people in the group. You go into a restaurant, and I'm telling you, it takes at least time they wait on you and bring the food and you eat. You're talking 2.5 hours. So you've not wasted, it's taken up a lot of your time. So what we do is, let's say again, Blarney, you go in, we tell you that you've got 2 hours or so there. That gives you the opportunity to go shopping, go sightseeing, go have lunch, or do all three. And this is a great way to have fish and chips at noon or shepherd's pie, whatever you want to do. But then get out and walk around. And I think it's really important. Every evening, the majority of the evenings, you're going to be having dinner. There's some that we have left open for you to go out and explore. And some people will like that for the fact that, like, and for an example, Killarney, I told you about going out to the pubs, experiencing the music. Well, you can go in some of these other towns, experience the movie, the sights and sound of the town and the music. But I want you to realize we're not starving you, and you by no means will you starve. But you are going to have a walking tour around Waterford before you leave, so you kind of get the lay of the land there, and you can see how beautiful it is. And that's where the medieval museum is also located. But you're going to head up north to Kilkenny. Kilkenny and the castle. This is a family, the Butler family, that has owned this. In fact, they still live in portions of this. And it's, handed down, of course, family to family. But you're going to have a chance to go through and see furniture of the period of the time, and the tapestries and the art. It is such a beautiful, beautiful castle. No, you're not having lunch or dinner here. It's just set for the king. And I took a picture of this bedroom, and after I got it home, I happened to realize there's a fan in it. I know they didn't have fans back in that day, but I just thought it was very unique. I love the wallpaper. It's got pheasants and peacocks on it. And the bed. If I laid in that bed, I'd be over the end, because where my knees would go down to touch the floor. It is so small. How they lived or slept in those, well, of course, they were all smaller back then. I told you about the famine, and you're going to see and hear the stories where roughly 3 million people perished because of the famine. And the famine was actually brought about by the potato plight. You have to understand the Irish love their potatoes. And when you go into dinners, you're going to find they probably serve it 3, 4, 5 different ways. But this is what was their key. And a lot of the potatoes just fell off the vines for a period of 3 to 4 years. So a lot of them perished. You're going to find too the history of, and I passed it, when we went to Cork, if you remember the road, we went through a town called Cove. Cove is where a lot of these people went to, because that's where all the ships were leaving. So they would go there, work on these around there to save enough money to take they called them the famine ships over to up to Nova Scotia, as well as the United States and Australia. But people perished on these things, because you got a picture, a family of 4, or 4, in some cases 6 people, would be in an area probably 8 by 8. They would be on these ships for anywhere from 6 weeks. They were allowed out of the area to go up on deck 15 minutes a day. So, but they would do anything to get out of Ireland because of the problem. Oh, you're going to have dinner here, which is a lot of fun. You'll enjoy the atmosphere. So it's outside the hotel, obviously. And this is your hotel. You're going to have it, you'll be here for 2 days or 2 nights, whichever way you want to look at it. But it gives you the opportunity to use the hop-on, hop-off bus. Please take advantage of this, and you'll be given tickets for it. The driver in this particular coaches, in fact, the first time I went there, I got on one of these and I thought, well, it stops every 6 minutes. There's 23 different places that it goes to, and you can get a map, decide, well, let's don't stop here, let's go on to the next or whatever. But they come every 6 minutes. The driver was phenomenal, because they give you a narration as to what you're about to see. Well, we're going to see Trinity College, or we're going to go see Malone, or the downtown area, but he sang it as he was doing it. His voice was phenomenal. We all enjoyed it. I stayed on it all the way through, and it was probably an hour and a half. When we got to the end, he gets off the coach, and I'm sitting in a bus park waiting for the next driver to come. And so that was another half hour to wait, but I enjoyed it. You'll have fun with this. And you can go up on top and see the sights along with inside. But doing the hop-on, hop-off bus, you have an opportunity. You'll get tickets for one of 4 places. One of them is Guinness. And I'm telling you, probably about 95% of the people that take this, the hop-on, hop-off, go to Guinness. There's a big shopping area inside for those that want you to bring something back that says Guinness on it. You're also going to learn how to pour the perfect pint if you haven't learned it by now. But the thing is, it's 1 minute and 18 seconds to pour a pint. And we went to a pub right in Dublin, and the gentleman says, "Oh, what's your initials?" So I gave them to him. He put it on the top of the foam. I went all the way down, and I could still see my initials on the foam at the bottom of the glass. This is the type of things that you see and you'll learn and hear about. But you're going to go to Guinness University, where you learn how to pour that pint. They give you a certificate. So it's a lot of fun. Or you can go to Teeling's, which is also a whiskey distillery right in, and then you get tickets for that, or Guinness, and you decide what you want to do. Or you're going to want to do the Epic Center. The Epic Center is very unique, because if you've got any heritage, Irish heritage in your background, this is a wonderful place to go to, because it tells about many people that left Ireland, that went to the United States, and also those in the United States that have Irish heritage, that are kind of the who's who. But it's the only digital museum, if you want to call it that, in Europe, and it's very unique. At the conclusion of it, they also have a genealogy place where you could talk to the gentleman there about it. But please don't walk down there and say, "My name is Flanagan. where do I come from? Do some research before you get there. So that way it gives him a heads up as to maybe to find out more about your background. Or your Trinity College. Would you believe there's 4.5 million books in this particular institution? It's very unique. It's a who's who, or a lot of scholars and saints come to this place. Kids from all over the world come here. It's very unique. But there you'll also find the books of Kells. And the books of Kells were written in the 8th century, and you can have it. You can go in there and go through it on your own. But there's also above that, and they turn a page a day, and it's absolutely exquisite to see the books of Kells. But there's a library up on top. It's one of the longest libraries in Europe, for the simple fact it's like something out of Sherlock Holmes. You can smell the dust, you can smell the leather, the ladders that go up to the books. It is something that you have to see. It's very unique. Or you could go to the general post office, and you're asking me, no, I don't want to go there to buy stamps. No, what you're going to find here, it's a museum, along with being the post office. Back in 1916, when the rebellion was going on, this is where it actually started. And it gives you a history behind the people of Ireland to get their independence, if that's an item you want to do. And would you believe your tour is over and you're heading back to the United States? And I hate to say that, because you're going to enjoy so much. All right. Do we have questions? Because Terry's going to answer them all for us.
I love it. You all are welcome to just unmute and fire away with any questions you might have, or if you want to put them in the chat, that's another option for you as well.
How exciting. I want to go now.
The good news is you are. You just have to be a little patient, I guess.
Right, just patience, yes.
While we're waiting for, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, here we go. I think I've got something in the chat. It said, is it possible to extend the trip before or after? We have family there.
Yes. And you guys can answer that more so, but they can go over a few days before or stay a few days after for as long as they want. Just that you have to let you guys know before which way they want to go, and so you can make the airline reservations.
Great question, Lynn. Okay, let's see. When is the tour? What are the dates? Terry, you know that off the top of your head.
Yes, we will be departing Minneapolis, if you're leaving from Minneapolis, on August 6th. The tour starts on the 7th, and we'll be traveling by air that night. So like Roger said, we'd be getting in the morning, early morning, but we will be traveling by air through the night. So leaving on the 6th, and then we return on, oh my goodness, let's see, that date is
20.
Let's see this. The 15th. The 15th.
15th.
Returning on the 15th of August in 2024.
That's a year from now.
I know.
But it's going to go fast.
Exactly. You guys will be there a year from now. That's amazing. All right. Next question. This is a great one too. Do you have any recommendations for what types of clothing or shoes to bring?
Extremely comfortable shoes. You're walking on cobblestone. You're also going to be, is like Blarney Castle, if you were to climb that. You want to get very, very, very comfortable shoes. Dress itself is very casual. So we just tell you to go and dress comfortably. And like my wife, when we were packing in October, she had all these outfits together, a blouse, the slacks, the shoes, the purse, this. I said, now take half of it out. You don't need all of that. It's just not that important. Just go over there and relax. Which she did, but very comfortable. I would suggest for ladies, a light coat, maybe for night, but something that possibly is waterproof with a hood. It never rains in Ireland, but just in case on that one day it does. Gentlemen, I usually wear a golf pullover because it's waterproof. Plus, it's for maybe an evening. Is it going to get cold at night? No, but it could get cool at night. It could be in the 60s, even in August. But you know, it's it's just like here this year. You just don't know what the weather's going to be. So just plan accordingly. But take something light as far as a coat.
Layers, 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 right?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Betcha. Another part of this question, how heavy or light to pack?
Well, if you take my wife's, my wife, if you take my wife's, she'll say heavy. I say pack light, and you're given 50 pounds in your check suitcase. So that's a lot of weight and a lot of clothes. So you don't need all of that.
If you can get into a carry-on, I always feel like that's the best route. You know, your bag won't get lost. You always have everything with you, but I get the heavy packers too. Oh, yeah. All right. I might be traveling solo. Is it safe in the evening to walk around alone, or will I always be in a group setting?
Another good question. It's like anywhere in Minneapolis, anywhere. Just know your surroundings, where you're at. Just you can enjoy yourself, but just be careful where you are. That's all. That's all. You can walk around.
And most
especially in Killarney,
small and quaint, right?
Yes.
You're be walking very far from your hotel. Everybody's so friendly.
Yep.
And you know, the thing about traveling with a group, you get to know each other too, and all of a sudden you have a best friend that's hanging out with you too.
Yep.
So that's always fun.
Yep.
Absolutely. And Shannon chimed in. She said, I've been there, and as a female, I felt very safe. And I can tell you I did too. I studied abroad when I was in college there. So I was in Dublin for a few months, and we were able to travel all around the country. And I'm jealous I'm not coming. I wish I was coming next summer, but I know you're going to have an amazing time.
Were you at Trinity College?
Oh, no. I was at University College Dublin. I was a little bit further.
Yep. Okay.
But the time of my life. So enjoy, everybody.
And is the pub stories true?
All the pub stories are true, but we never talk about them, right? What happens in the pub stays in the pub?
Well, what happens in a pub stays in the pub, yes. Right?
I remember walking into the university, and on campus was a pub, and I went, wait, what? They said, yeah, you go to the pub in between classes. Like, perfect. I love this place.
Very true.
That's why my dad sent me here. Or maybe you didn't tell him that.
Right?
Oh, very good.
All right. Well, we're not going to recommend hitchhiking, but Shannon said she did feel comfortable hitchhiking there too.
Whoa.
Thanks, Shannon.
That is good.
Yeah. Terry, I have a question about the airlines for the group. When will the tickets start to be purchased there?
That is a good question. And John, are you on?
Yep, I'm on. So
I'll let John answer that question.
I will start blocking the space as soon as possible for the group. So that's usually about 300 days out prior to the return date. Once I block that, then I can, if you want to extend or do something different or possibly get up to Delta Comfort, I will work with you at that too, and try to work it in with the group so we don't have to worry about ticketing it right away and you're locked in, that sort of thing. But I book the air as soon as possible for a group this size. Ireland is very popular, so I want to grab the good space right away. So it'll be probably early October of this year. I'll block the space.
Okay. What can you tell us about the exchange rate?
The exchange rate obviously changes daily, and you can go on now, and right now the dollar is a little stronger than the euro as we talk. It's euro, but it fluctuates around. It hasn't been any less. Sometimes it's 1-to-1, but the exchange rate it changes again daily. But okay. I would suggest you using I would take, of course, dollars, but I'd also use your ATM or your credit card. Mm-hmm. Ireland is slowly becoming a cashless country. But it's still, obviously it's still accepted as I talk to you today. But you can use your ATMs and your Visa cards or MasterCards anywhere over there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? And just know, obviously, we'll send out this recording so you can watch it again if there's anything you missed. And inside of that, we'll include our contact information if any questions come up in the meantime. You can find more tour information on our website, which is just burschtravel.com. So if you don't think of it now, if you're like me, who I log off and go, oh yes, I forgot. We're here for you to answer all of your questions along the way.
One comment I'd like to make too is for our tour guide and the bus driver, there usually is gratuities that are paid personally by each of you. And John, maybe I could call on you to give us an idea of what that usually is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we have, Roger, did you say gratuities were included, or do we have to add those in?
No, the only things that are not included is the tip for the driver. Right. And of course, then you should look at insurance and of course the air. It's separate from our tours. The only the tips for the hotel staff is included, but the tip for the driver is not, and that can range anywhere, and it's totally $8 to $10 a day per person.
And Roger, how about for the tour guide?
The tour guide is going to be the same, driver guide. Okay. So it's only one person.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay, yeah, great.
Sorry.
That helps clarify that. Good, thank you.
And you would pay them at the end of the trip.
Okay.
And it's left to your discretion. If you get a walk-on guide in some towns like Galway and Dublin, you'll probably have what we call a walk-on guide. And that person comes on to narrate about what you're seeing and so on, while the driver takes care of the driving. And you would only give them like let's talk about US dollars, $2 for that walk-on guide, because they're with you probably 2 to 3 hours. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you tip in euros or dollars?
They'll go either way. They'll do dollars as well as euro. If you have euro, that would be good. Oh, I hope you can still hear me. All of a sudden, my screen changed.
We can hear you. I shifted it over to sharing my screen. I just wanted to be able to show everybody, and hopefully you can see this, where you can find more information about the tour on our website. So if you just go to burschtravel.com, click under services, you will find all of our exclusive groups. And we have a lot of groups going on this year, so you're gonna have to scroll down just a little bit, but you'll find Irish Gold. Inside of that, a little bit more information, just same thing Roger went over today, as well as our brochure and our contact information. So just a quick kind of heads up as to where you can find that information. But like I said, we will be emailing you a copy of this presentation tonight, and we'll include all of that contact information in there as well.
Thanks, Laura.
And to let you know, when you get closer to departure time, you're going to be receiving from us a backpack for carry-ons. You're also going to be receiving an adapter, and you're going to ask what an adapter is for. It is for your plugins to convert over to their plugins in their hotels or any place that you plug stuff into. You'll get that, so you do not have to go out and purchase one. You're also going to get a strap for your check luggage, so people know that you are with the tour. You'll also be given baggage tags, and more importantly, you're going to be getting booklets on your trip, what to expect, how much do you tip a driver, how much, what you're going to see. I mean, it's all in this book that you're going to be getting at close to about 3 weeks before departure time. So that'll answer a lot of the questions as far as the trip. Do I take my cell phone? Do I use an ATM card? Can I use a Visa card? All that information will be inside there, but I realize it's never too early to ask these questions.
I love the adapter. That's what I always forget. I get there and I go,
Yeah, you need
oh
it.
no, or it's the wrong adapter. There's always something. USB cords are getting to be a little bit more common, so that helps out, but
yep.
That adapter will be fantastic.
Yep.
So we live in Gillette, Wyoming, and there is a Bursch travel agent in Gillette. So do we coordinate our stuff through them or directly through you guys in Minneapolis?
You can do either. So Lorna is our manager in Gillette. She absolutely knows how to book this through our group. So that way she makes sure that you're all lined up with everything that you need. She'll probably put you in contact with both Jill and John who are on this, but whoever you contact will take care of you. We're all one in the same Bursch family.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
What is the expected limit on the group? Number of people attending?
The limit will be 40, you know, anywhere between 36 and 40, I believe.
Okay.
Is our hope. Mm-hmm.
So you have your own coach.
Right. Right. So tell your friends.
All right, last call. Any other questions before we let you back to your Tuesday night? All right.
Well, I want to just say thank you, Laura, for helping us through this and waiting along for me to get logged on this evening. And thanks for all the technical support here and getting us and hosting this. So, and Roger, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a really exciting glimpse at our Ireland tour, which is going to come a lot sooner than we expect. So it's the year will go fast, but we really, really appreciate all your information.
And I appreciate it. No problem. No problem.
And everybody that joined, thank you so much. It was wonderful. I saw a few of you. I saw some names here, and we will have a recording of this, so for other people that may want to look at and watch it. So, well, and we'll just pass it on and invite your friends. Invite your family. So it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
See you in Ireland.
Bye.